Hey Dream Girls, welcome to the 7th annual 2020 Dream Girls Conference. We are elated to have you with us back here in the Dream Girls studio. I am your co-host, LaRoyalty Jones, and remember you cannot sit with me unless you are LWP, and that is Living with Purpose. Today we are joined by the wonderful motivational speaker, Shanice Lawrence. Miss Shanice, can you tell us a little bit about your career and your school?
Yes. So my name is Shanice Lawrence, and about my career, so I am a motivational speaker and a mindset and wellness coach. But when I'm not here with She's a Motivator, I am a higher education professional, and I am an academic coach and mentor to college students, helping them navigate their way through college, but then also allowing them to figure out a total balance in life. So while we may be focusing on academics, we are also focusing on your professional development and also your personal wellness as well as an academic coach. But with she'samotivator.com, my entire life is devoted to helping people see themselves the way that God sees them and reminding them of that greatness that is within them.
That is really awesome. Can you tell us, is there a moment in line that influenced you to pursue your purpose?
A moment that influenced me. I think I've always just been a person who was super positive, super bubbly. I have like chipmunk cheeks and they're always like smiling. And so I've always been that friend who was always encouraging of my peers of whether to pursue a dream, whether to step out on faith, or just to choose to live their best life in real life. Oftentimes we may experience an obstacle, and even in high school, just experiencing obstacles, and it's a big transition between high school and college. I've always been that friend encouraging my peers to take life by the reins, but also being able to see that they are meant for more. And even though you may be experiencing an obstacle, that setback is just a setup for a greater comeback. And so since I've always been this way, I realized that not everybody has that gift of being that motivator, of being that encourager, and wanting to continuously inspire other people. And somehow I thought I was hiding that blessing because I didn't think I needed to classify myself as a speaker or classify myself as a coach, but I knew that I had a gift in doing that. And so now, rather than just encouraging my friends, I get to encourage like young girls here at the Dream Girls Conference. I get to encourage my students. I get to encourage my subscribers online. So it's being able to utilize that gift that God has given me of encouragement, but for the masses.
Well, I feel a little bit more encouraged after that. Can you tell us a little bit about your 7-day motivational book?
Yes. So I created a 7-day self-love devotional. So self-love is something that's huge to me because there was a time in my life when I didn't know my worth. I didn't know my value. And when you don't know your worth and your value, you give other people that power to dictate what they think you should be or who they think you are. And so when I was living in a time when I didn't know my worth, I questioned who God has created me to be, but then I also questioned my gifting. And so while God was working through that within me and allowing me to see myself the way that He sees me, He planted powerful messages in my life that I wanted to share with other people. So that 7-day self-love through God's love is a devotional that reminds you of your worth. It reminds you of self-love, but it also reminds you of God's love through a 7-day affirmations, but then also a journal portion. It comes with prayers and just allowing you to speak life over yourself, especially when you don't know the words to speak.
So prior to your devotional book, how did you handle obstacles in your life?
Okay, so there's like a before Christ answer, and then there is how I handled it by myself. So in terms of obstacles, I loved journaling. And oftentimes when we're going through something in the midst of it, it seems a lot bigger than it may actually be. So I used to journal a lot. So before actually talking about it, I wrote it down. I took a couple days, went back to it. And oftentimes when you go back to the thing you wrote about, it's just like, why was I so mad? Or why was this such a big obstacle in my life in that moment? So that's how I normally dealt with it. But now dealing with obstacles, I still do journal, hence why that devotional does have a journal portion, but then I also reflect on what God's word says about obstacles. I know that I'm created for every single thing that I'm going to ever go through. Every level in my life, I know that I'm equipped to go through it. Even though I may not always feel equipped, everything happens for a reason. I believe that even when I'm in a room and I may not necessarily know why, there is some kind of purpose in there. And I love how you mentioned purpose in the beginning of the girls listening. When you go back to the fact that there's purpose behind every single thing that you do, when you're going through that obstacle, you know that there's a bigger why, and you know that you're meant to either you're meant to be victorious on the other side of that obstacle. So that's how I see it now. So it's a setback for a greater comeback.
Thank you for that. So what does it mean to be healthy and fit to you?
So I believe in total fitness, okay? So that's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness. There was also a time I lost 40 pounds, and I actually lost 40 pounds twice. So the first time I lost 30 pounds, ended up gaining back all the weight, and then ended up losing 40 pounds. What I learned about the first time in losing that weight was that it wasn't just an external journey, right? But the first time I had it, it was just an external journey for me. But there were still some holes in my heart that weren't closed. There were still some voids that I was looking for the world to fill within me. And while I couldn't fill that with food, I started to fill that with other negative habits. But the second time around, my weight loss ended up being an external manifestation of what happened to me internally, which was becoming whole, which was healing, which was realizing my worth. And when you start to realize how valuable you are, you start to treat yourself different. You start to feed different things into your body, and you realize that how your body's an extension of how you view yourself and how you love yourself and how God has gifted you this creation to take care of, right? So that second time around when I lost the weight, it was more so of an external manifestation of what happened internally. So my goal for today, I am teaching a workshop to the middle school girls on I am meant for more, how to discover and walk in my purpose. And so for today's workshop, I really want the girls to know that even though that they may be right now in their middle school life and they may be looking forward to high school, or they may be stuck in whatever obstacles that they're going through while they're in middle school, knowing that they are meant for so much greater than what they're currently experiencing. And also going back to planting those seeds of purpose, planting those seeds of power, planting those seeds of passion, allowing them to realize that they are gifted and talented. And those gifts that they may have, there's something special, and not to be overlooked or not to be placed on the back burner, but to be cultivated for a life of impact and influence. So I'm super excited to talk to the young girls today.
So our final question today: what is in the future of She's a Motivator?
So the future of She's a Motivator, I'm super excited. I truly believe that I'm going to be traveling the world and singing and speaking. So I also sing, and just continuing to just allow people to see themselves the way that God sees them. Currently, I have an online subscribership, and I'm on social media, and I'm producing videos and things of that nature. But coming around to conferences and talking, especially with the young girls, it's so important to know that they are like fertile soil. So you're planting seeds of life within them. So the things that you say, the things that they're going to watch on these videos, even though they may not remember everything, they're going to remember something, whether it's that word of purpose, whether it's that word of I'm going to grow through everything I go through, whether it's that word of I was created to be a queen and treated respectfully, or whether it's that they have worth and purpose within them. There's something that's happening that when you speak to that young child, speak to that young girl, speak to that young boy, and inspire them for the greater. So I know that She's a Motivator is definitely going to continue to grow, but more so of getting that message out, especially to that younger crowd, of how valuable they are.
Well, we thank you for those very, very helpful words, and we thank you for joining us today. There you go, Miss Dream Girls, Miss Shanice Lawrence. We'll see you soon.